Here you go. So the next thing to take. I forgot to introduce one last friend to the equation. This is my mechanical eraser. I only have about 4 of them that are floating around the classroom. When you use a mechanical eraser, you not need to ask for it, and secondly, you need to give it back. All right, I only have 4 of them. I'm not going to replace them. Therefore, if one disappears, they're all going to disappear. I'm going to put them away. You need to respect that process. These are too expensive for me to replace constantly, especially when they cut I'm buying them myself. I'm not buying them with school money. So I want to make sure that you guys benefit and are able to create the best drawing possible. But these are really just meant for professional artists, but I want to treat you guys as such, so respect that. All right, what you'll be doing next is, sorry, kind of need that. Kind of need this. Notice what I'm doing. As I observed again, I noticed that I'm missing some value here and there. Also noticing that I don't like how it's turning out, but that's what I just told you guys, is that you can't stop. You can't let your brain win here. Alright, so let me show you how you develop this. I'm just going to focus on this chimpanzee's eye. So if I were to use this post-it, I'm just kind of looking at this right here. Okay, so what do we do to get it to that spot? So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to blend this in a little bit more, and I'll tell you why. Because I can then come back in using this eraser. I can recreate that to my liking. Alright, next step is to move on to the next little detail. Actually, this is supposed to be a lot bigger, isn't it? Thanks, you guys. As an artist, as a student, and I'm a lifelong student, and so are you guys, whether you like it or not. But as an artist, I realize that I have a lot to learn, and that I learn every time I draw. The older I get, the more I realize I know nothing at all. Understand that we are constantly learning from our mistakes. Okay. Excuse me. Still getting over that cold. And so right here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a bunch of little lines to create a little pupil effect. I'm actually going to add black right here. Trying to keep it pretty intensely black, and then I'm going to create the little highlight right over the pupil, right around here, and here, and here. Now I'm going to take my charcoal pencil. If you need this sharpened, you need to ask the teacher. Sharpeners, traditional sharpeners like these won't work very well. Electric sharpener will definitely not work. You can try your best not to break the lead and sharpen it that way. We also have X-Acto knives in the classroom, and your teacher, your substitute teacher, can help you with that. And this charcoal you could use to draw in the remainder of the black around the eye. Check that baby out. It's starting to look pretty intense. You want some pretty high intensity around the eye. Alright, I'm looking at the clock. This is taking me about 3 to 4 minutes to get to this point from the last time I pointed out the clock. These things don't happen immediately. It takes observation. As an artist, you need to become a master observer, right? Alright, and as you can see, just focusing on small textures, focusing on small details, looks totally different on that side, right? This is just by focusing on erase work. I'm using mostly this pencil top eraser, a lot of this, and just barely some of this. The big eraser is to erase larger spaces, just to save the mechanical eraser for important things. If you stop observing, what you're going to end up seeing is that things are going to start looking a little fake, a little flat, a little ridiculous. So make sure that as you're drawing in that you do not make things up. You want to be a keen observer. You want to make sure that you capture lines and shapes, textures as much as you can. I can't teach every single one of them. A lot of it's going to have to be like you exploring and you trying to capture a certain shape. I expect you guys to try your hardest. Again, I can't teach most of this stuff, and if you're watching this, I'm probably gone. So you're going to have to try your hardest to create something. If you can't do it, what I want to say is, if you are just about at the point of giving up because you've tried, first things first, try. Second option, ask a neighbor for help. Don't forget that you have all these people around you that may have already gone through the process or have at least figured it out. Not to mention that if there's a phenomenon that happens that if you work on someone else's project, it's not stressful because it's not your project. So you just happen to be a little bit more successful than if you were working on your very own piece. So one thing you can do is trade a project with someone for the day and help them out. You have to trust that person, though. You have to know that they try really hard on their project and they're learning at the same pace that you are. Otherwise that might not work, but I know it works most of the time when we try it in my class. Alright, so I'm getting pretty close to representing this chimp on this side. Okay, so now I need to add a little smile. I'm only going to do this half. Just want you to see that I'm going back to black, because I need black. Going back to dark black, because I need more black. So just because you add it once doesn't mean you shouldn't pick up that charcoal again. It's a nice, careful dance between one material and the other, back and forth, back and forth. So now I'm going to show you a little bit of texture. I'm just going to stop right here. Let me zoom in a little bit. So what I'm doing here is adding a little bit of texture to make it look like this chimp has a few whiskers. This takes a lot of observation and a lot of understanding here. So hair. Let me stop right there and explain hair. Hair is not just a bunch of things going like this. It's also on this chin. It's not exactly this either. Alright, so that's the monkey's chin, or a lion's mane. Hair isn't like this. It's not perfectly orderly like this. Not on your arm, not on an animal, not on a dog. It's never this perfect. What it is, it's a bunch of hair going generally in one direction, but you have to kind of picture a river. So hear my story out, alright? Here's a river, here's a rock, here's some curves, rocks on the sides, here's a cliff or whatever. Okay, so here's a river. You got water flowing this way, and that way, and this way, right? But if you have fish swimming in this river, are they ever perfectly in a row? No, right? What you're going to have is, a fish flicking this way, a fish swimming around this rock, a fish going perfectly straight, a fish going kind of angled. This fish is kind of going on the side of the bank. This fish is swimming away from that fish. So even though they're all going in the same direction, they're going downriver, right? They have their own life. They have their own personality. So as you draw a hair, you got to figure out how long that hair is. So is it this short? Is it this short? Or is it that long? Or is it the full length of the page? And for you, you need to look at the picture. So if I'm looking at this chimp, the hair is only this big. If I'm going to amplify that, it's only going to be about that much bigger. Secondly, which direction is it going in? So yes, this chimp has hair going outwardly like this chin right here. A little bit more so like this. So what we have to think about is the hair is kind of going from a center point. and although they're all going outwards, they're all their own length, and some of them are slightly crooked, some of them are different length. So you have to go random. Another demonstration I have to show you is the outline of a forest. You know, is a forest perfectly like that, or you need a different piece of paper here, or is a forest more like this? And even this is going to be kind of fake, obviously, because oops. What's a little bit more representative of a forest? So what I'm trying to say is, as you're drawing this chimpanzee, make sure that even though the hairs are going outwards, they're going outwards in their own direction. Some are longer, some are closer together, some are far apart. The more random, the more realistic it's going to look. You can't really mimic nature without random. But although at the same time, pretty uniform. So even though there's an equation here for the hair, you have to avoid being too much of an equation. Now it's the fun part. Once you've added all your details, once you're getting pretty close to being done with your drawing, you can go in and add some highlights. This charcoal pencil does a great job of making some hair look a lot brighter. Don't overuse this. Don't be coloring the entire chimp white. He'll look pasty white. He'll look ghostly. He'll end up looking a lot like the Joker from The Dark Knight. The Heath Ledger Joker. You can't use it for the highlights in the eyes. Use it for just a few of the details. But there you go. So you have half a chimp right there. I want to show you. Here's an example of one that's nearly done. But try your hardest. Go back and forth with the charcoal until you get the effect that you want. For parts, let's say, for parts like this ear, what you want to do is make sure that you match the gray, both grays, the gray in the sky and the gray in the ear. So I'm almost done here. I know it's a long demonstration. Thank you for sticking around. Match the gray, and then make sure you take your eraser and erase in the parts you can identify in the drawing. If you don't erase things in the proper spot, I expect you to get rid of it. Try again. Alright, so just try your best to create the representation that you see in your image. Hair is done in all sorts of ways. This hair right here is more kind of an implication. You can't really see it. Make sure you go random, random edge, random edge, random edge. Should look something like that. And then you erase in on the outside a little bit. You can't just leave a little zigzag like that. I'm sorry, I haven't even been showing you, huh? Kind of want to imply it like this. Alright, so this is a finished side, unfinished side, and a finished ear, finished background. But keep doing what you do to make this look good. So straighten out that edge, just like we did our sculpture, or sorry, our charcoal shapes. And that's it for the demonstration. Thank you for sticking around. I'll try to edit this so it's not an excruciatingly long video. Before and after. This is before. If I were to stop right here, it'd be like, it's a terrible drawing. What you have to do is just keep observing until things start working out. All right. So I hope this tutorial works. Please contact me if you have any questions. There should be a comment box on the NHHS math.org website, or you could also email me at smartinez@psd1.org. Okay, that's smartinez@pst1.org. Thank you very much.